Well, good afternoon and welcome. My name is Jim Moore. I'm Smart Training's Vice President for Content Development. I'm also a certified HIPAA professional. We have a terrific event in store for you today because it offers an answer to questions that I get every day about how best to communicate patient information to and from busy practices like yours. Now, just to give you some background, our CEO, Josh Matheny, and I met Dr. Arnold Rosen at Yankee Dental Congress in Boston some weeks ago. And we were as excited by his message then as we are today. Just to give you some background on Dr. Rosen, he received his dental degree from New York University, had special training in prosthodontics from Boston University School of Dentistry, and maxillofacial prosthetics from Memorial Sloan Kettering Cancer Institute. Dr. Rosen also received an MBA from Boston University School of Dental Medicine. He served as director of hospital dentistry at New England Medical Center Hospital. He's the co-founder and director of the Dental Implant Center at Tufts University School of Dental Medicine, and he's the founder of the Tufts Dental Implant Fellowship Program. Interestingly enough, Dr. Rosen has decades of experience in telemedicine and teledental technologies companies. He is also founder of Transcend, which provides networking solutions for the dental industry. He's a highly sought-after lecturer and consultant. His experiences include setting up an implant center in Saudi Arabia, evaluating joint ventures in the Ukraine, the Czech, and Slovak republics, and designing and managing the development of dental implant training centers all across North America. But perhaps most impressive is this: Dr. Rosen has always maintained a clinical practice in addition to all of his administrative, academic, lecturing, and entrepreneurial comments. And that's why we believe that the few minutes that you'll spend with Dr. Rosen today will pay big dividends for your practice over the months and years ahead. So please join me in giving a warm Smart Training welcome to Dr. Arnold Rosen. Arnie?
Okay, so I started to talk about the value of time. And I usually talk about this in the context of opportunity cost. Most of us don't understand the value of our time or the concept of opportunity cost. You know, it was Benjamin Franklin who coined the phrase time is money. And he was speaking to his tradesmen in 1746 when they actually documented this. And what he said to them was, remember that time is money. He that can earn 10 shillings a day by his labor and sits idle one half of the day has really spent or rather thrown away 5 shillings besides. But let me put this in context. Okay, practices vary in the cost of doing business across the United States. In my area in Boston, it's very expensive to run a practice. And right now, I calculate that it costs us, the value of our time is, we expect to be productive at the rate of about $10 a minute. So $10 a minute, if I have to go to make a phone call, that might take me 5 minutes. It might take me 10 minutes to discuss something. And so that could be something that costs me $100 in my time. And I just want to, for the, for the purpose of this, I once was giving a presentation of this type talking about opportunity cost. Somebody made a comment that all he cares about is the money. And I just want to say from the start, the thing that's the most important to me is the quality of care that I provide. And the better quality of care that I provide, the more productive we are. And also, because we try to be as productive as we can, it gives us the opportunity to give care to some people that can't afford our care. So we want to make sure that we're productive. A simple example of opportunity cost is tomorrow morning I go to the office, nobody is in the chair. The lab work didn't appear. There was a miscommunication for a number of reasons. So 1 hour of my time is lost. And that means that there's an opportunity cost of $600. That comes directly out of my pocket because I have to pay the rent. I have to pay my vendors. What is left is in my pocket. So opportunity cost comes deep in terms of, that's your income. So I just want to put that in perspective. So I'm looking here at a screen that shows you one case. In the upper left, a patient presented with a fractured tooth number 9 that had to be extracted, required an implant. There was a process that went from the very beginning, the time that that patient walked into our office, to the time in the lower left when that patient had a restoration in their mouth. So I'm going to use this as an example of something called the value chain in dentistry. Now, the value chain in dentistry was well, not in dentistry, the value chain actually was a concept from 1985 that Michael Porter at the Harvard School of Business delivered a document or a paper, and he coined the phrase, the value chain. And basically, what that means is that there's a process that occurs from the time that you start to develop a service or a product to the time that you deliver it. And there are all kinds of inputs that occur. And regardless whether you're manufacturing automobiles or you are doing a dental prosthesis, there is a process that occurs. For instance, the patient comes into your office, and the first thing you have to do is engage that patient properly. Then there's diagnosis and treatment plan. And for this type of patient, there's a surgical requirement that has to be executed. And then we take over, there's a prosthetic requirement, we interact with a dental lab, and then we finish our work and we follow up. So there's an entire chain of events here. Those chains also require the input from suppliers and technical support that's required. And underlying that is something that ties everything together, and that's communication. Now, I go to a lot of lectures and science symposiums with the latest in technology and dentistry. I see people sharing information in methods that don't document things, don't have a thread that goes through this entire chain, and more than that, are HIPAA compliant. And these are key opinion leaders in our industry. So they don't understand the importance of HIPAA compliance, which I'm going to talk to, but also communication is the thread. It's the foundation of being as efficient as you can be. And I'm going to demonstrate some ways that that's the case. So this patient started, and the first thing that I had to do was to send this patient for a surgical consult. There's a number of ways that you might do that. You might go and phone somebody that you're referring. You may go and write a document. Here's what the patient needs. Or you can open a text, drag and drop a couple of images, and just type something really rapidly, or even dictate it. Fractured tooth number 9, evaluate for extraction and immediate implant placement. Now, you'll notice here a couple of things. One is that any patient name that I show you, I have the permission for both the images and the patient. So I'm very sensitive to the patient's privacy. In the upper left here, you see Ted Williams is our patient. Well, that has something to do with the fact that we have a programmer who is a passionate Red Sox fan. And Ted Williams knows the reference on many of our documents. So I have to thank Pat for that. So after that, basically, I did the referral. Doing this, starting a text message took me about 2 minutes. If I had gone and made a phone call, it probably would have taken me anywhere from 5 to 10 minutes. And this way, in a very short period of time, in the nature of texting, the surgeon saw the text that I sent and responded very quickly, took a CBCT, and saved it here for me to view on this document. And this created a context for a conversation. So we're using texting. I'm sure that most of you use texting as a vehicle for communication. And we'll talk about what's unique about Awrel and HIPAA compliance in texting and how important that is. So we have this communication that underlies everything. And Awrel is a texting collaboration tool that enhances productivity and quality. The importance of it is texting is simple. Conversation is essential. You know, one of the ways that we use texting often is for conversation. It replaces a phone call. If I send somebody I want to have somebody view an image, I may go to a secure emailing system, some other secure system for saving a document. That lacks conversation. And a critical part of my working through a case is very much the conversation that accompanies the assets being visual images, x-rays, and everything we're doing is HIPAA compliant. It resides in a cloud that is dedicated for healthcare security. So what we're trying to do is in a HIPAA compliant manner, we want to collaborate and engage the entire community of people that we work with individually and collectively. And texting is a unique way of doing that. It's very simple, but it's so simple that most of us overlook the fact that most text messaging systems are not compliant and are not secure, and will, look a little bit as to, what differentiates issues associated to the security in different types of systems. So I thought I would just start by just showing you one interesting case and how quickly we were able to engage the community to take care of this. This is an image that was shown to me. It was on a panoramic review with a patient that was undergoing orthodontics, and the patient is 13 years old. You can see that there was something that we could identify in the sinus that was right over tooth number 3 and 4. Well, immediately the orthodontist opened up a message. I got the message, and then I sent these assets, being the radiology images. I added an endodontist that I work with. My first step was here. I wanted to know, are these teeth vital? Because I wanted, as part of a differential diagnosis, to be able to rule out the etiologies of what I'm looking at here. So immediately I texted. The endodontist responded within 30 minutes. And I was able to identify the fact that that area is not of odontogenic origin. So immediately, just imagine, no phone call, no letters, no emails, that very few people return now. I think people are paranoid about links and returns with emails these days. And one of the beauties of a HIPAA compliant environment is its resistance to being able to be hacked. So the next thing that we did was said, now we're going to take a look at this. We're going to have to take a regional CBCT, and we're going to then have an ENT specialist take a look at that, and we're going to add them to this message. So you can imagine that not only did we benefit from minimizing the opportunity cost, but we've optimized the experience and outcome for the patient as well as for us as clinicians. And we're documenting everything. At Awrel, we don't delete anything. We allow people to archive things, but we don't delete. We feel for medical legal reasons that we have to maintain this information. So here we are, and we spent minutes doing something that could have consumed a significant amount of time and does not necessitate any additional documentation. And by the way, we engage patients. So the father of this patient also has a secure connection with us, and these documents are in place for his father to have access to them. So when I look at the value chain in dentistry, I take a look at this patient who's a lovely lady, and something, she is not very happy with her appearance. She feels, she wants privacy. She expects that without my consent, that she is not going to be exhibited, either named in the office at the time that she comes in or any other aspect of the follow-up of care. So we fit her into this value chain. And this becomes a process. Now, I know that a lot of people are apathetic about HIPAA. They don't think that it's something that's going to burn them, but we're all vulnerable, and more will be more vulnerable. I hear things like, well, I haven't seen the HIPAA police lately. You know, we talk about HIPAA-compliant text messaging. Well, if you have the choice, if you're going to text, you know, why not be compliant? Why not pay attention? Why should I care? Well, you know, I'm concerned about my own security. I am really sensitive to not having a breach of my own personal information. And I think you've seen many things recently, like Equifax, JP Morgan, of all of these data breaches. So why should I care? Well, number one is the law. Okay, and for that very reason, to say to yourself, well, I haven't seen the HIPAA police, well, you might consider the fact that you can text and be compliant, or you can text and not. And the decision at the same cost, you know, that's a hard one not to take into consideration. Second, you have an obligation to respect your patient's privacy. You know, I expect that from all the medical care and the dental care that I get. So I don't think that that's a big deal for me to expect that respect. I also respect everyone that I connect to. And if I connect with people and I am not sensitive to their security and to the HIPAA obligations, I expose them to potential violation. And I respect the people that I connect to. We often speak to specialists who say, you know, I get texts from all over the place. And I get texts and I want people to be compliant. Well, we've created a simple method for that to be true, but they know that they have exposure. The dental labs, we are constantly connecting with them in this digital world, sharing information, sharing patient images. And that creates exposure to everybody. And why do that when you don't have to? And the other thing is, do you care about your own security? Well, I'll tell you, this is kind of interesting that it was just a short time ago, about a month ago, my computer was hacked through the messaging system in LinkedIn. Now, I had this sense of feeling like I was being protected there, but I wasn't. And one of our colleagues not only was linked, their security was breached through the messaging system, but information in their computer was compromised. So I have a real concern about protection and security, and I carry that throughout with my patients. You know, so what could happen? Well, here's a case. Burglary leads to lengthy HIPAA investigation for a CDA dentist. Okay, so here was a dentist whose information was stolen, and you know, you get to be on the HIPAA hit list. Becomes public, you know, that this individual was broken into. It's now public knowledge. And if I'm one of the patients from this office, I'm not really happy about this. And the incident was reported to the Attorney General, State of California, and the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services that legislates HIPAA. So this can happen to you. And if everything is stolen, the simplest thing to steal is that device that you carry around, that mobile device. So why now? Well, among other things, that there are violations now that are being levied for violations of HIPAA. And you know, there's 180,000 dentists, there's tens of thousands of lab techs and companies. I work with reps from different implant companies, and everybody is sharing patient information on their mobile devices. So who can file a complaint? Well, you know, it's kind of interesting that a complaint can be filed by an employee that's not crazy about you, by a patient that sees an infraction. And all they have to do, I know in Texas, all they have to do is call the Attorney General's office. And the next thing you know, your office is going to be turned upside down for a HIPAA audit. And if that happens, there is no recourse. Even if somebody has sour grapes for you and they report something, there's nothing you can do about it. You just have to go through the process. And you can avoid that process by paying attention to all of the issues that you should be in your office, not just texting, but any other processes that you have. So what happens if you text patient private health information in your phone's native texting software and somebody hacks it or somebody steals your phone? You know that you're required to actually report this, and then you become the subject of audits. And if you have patient information on the phone, you're now in violation of a federal law. So why not text or email with a smartphone app? There's no control over the final destination of their message. They could be sent to the wrong number. I know I've sent text to the wrong place. Once you send it, you can't bring it back. With a non-HIPAA compliant messaging system, it can be intercepted while in transit. Copies of messages remain on your device, and that is a basic HIPAA violation. And anybody could pick up somebody's mobile device and use it to send a message. So for these reasons, and many more, communicating protected health information by standard, non-encrypted, non-monitored, and non-controlled texting applications is a violation of HIPAA. So why text? Well, 90% of all text messages are read in under 3 minutes. So when I text, I expect a quick response. I want to have resolution of the information. I want to be efficient. I want to be efficient for the office and for the patient. And by the way, when I spoke about opportunity cost, patients have opportunity costs. So if I'm not efficient and I do something that creates difficulties for my patients or inconveniences them, I know they would like to be doing other things than spending time with me. So there's that issue. And it takes the average person 90 minutes to respond to an email, but only 90 seconds to respond to a text message. So I can do this in my operatory. I don't leave to make phone calls. I'm pretty much hands-free. I try to do things in a hands-free manner in my operatory, and I can do that effectively using text. It is okay to send messages by text when the mechanisms are in place to comply with the technical safeguards of the HIPAA security rule. Awrel is the first HIPAA-compliant desktop and mobile texting application dedicated to dentistry. And so we'll look at this case in the context of the value chain and how we utilized and leveraged texting. So the patient presents like this, and we want to make a screw-retained prosthesis on an implant for tooth number 9. And the reason we want to make a screw-retained prosthesis is not just because of cement with cemented restorations, but did you know that every material has a useful life to it? And someday I will have to remove this crown, make repairs or redo it. And if it's screwed on, I can just unscrew it. And if it's cemented, I'm basically going to have to cut it off. So there is a opportunity cost that's saved via using the screw. So we want to do something where we have a screw-retained prosthesis that we can remove easily. But that does not lend itself so well to doing anterior crowns and cosmetic areas. So we started off by creating a text message, and we went through the diagnosis. And via this technology, we were able to optimize the position together with the surgeon of the best location for this implant. And you can see on the left side that if I want to achieve a screw retained, we would be compromising the position of the implant. And on the right side, you can see that we have planned for a 24 degree angulation we can use something called an angled screw access. So once again, all this information is documented via a text. I can go back and scroll back just like you can any other text, and I'm able to view everything that's well documented because we're saving everything for you. And you have control over who gets to see this text. So then the surgical aspect can be carried through, and we can get to the planning phase where there's a tremendous amount of communication that's required between our office and the laboratory technician, not only in the design of the abutment, but also in the design of the crown, including shades. Now, I just made 2 abutments just to show you the difference. That on the left-hand side, you can see the straight screw, which would require cementation, or the angled screw axis, which takes special planning. And the texting environment allows us to do that together with the laboratory so that we can optimize the position and have the result that is the best for the patient. So once again, texting ended up being a facilitator. It was the glue, that the foundation and the glue that allowed us to manage from one step to another, from surgeon to restorative dentist to laboratory, even to rep, and all with a chain of information, and provides the opportunity to have the result that we wanted. So our mission is to provide the dental community with mobile messaging and voice-assisted business solutions on a platform, and I stress business solutions, that provides the patient information protection required by HIPAA. And it is provided in a desktop and a mobile environment. The desktop environment is really critical because we provide an environment for saving DICOM images, for saving STL files, for saving CT scans and x-rays. And the manipulation of that really is required, on that desktop environment. But we also provide a mobile environment. And the mobile environment allows for us to view those x-rays and models and all kinds of different information on the phone. And we provide notifications. So like most applications, you can see the unread messages. What you're viewing here is to the left is what I would call the inbox. And the 2 screens here, you're seeing the one in the middle, is something where we're managing the care for a cosmetic restoration, which almost always requires some communication back and forth with the laboratory. And on the right, what you're viewing is one of those images. So on the phone, when you touch the image, it blows up so that you can see high resolution images that you can really view carefully. This is just another example of the mobile experience. And what you see here is we have a patient who presents with a problem. Their CT scan is on this document. Their surgical report is on this document. Their lab prescription and images for shade matching is on the same document. So we're able to keep all of this information. So whether you're a lab, you're a company, a practice, this environment allows for everybody to connect. Our goal is to have the dental community globally to use this asset for the opportunity to be the most productive you can be and to deliver the best services that you can to your patients and to be compliant. So part of the direction that we're going actually is engaging the patient's care so that the patient can be prompted. We're developing different voice-assisted applications and business applications so that we can guide a patient's experience, for instance, going through the surgical phase and being able to prompt patients, help them to get the very best care that they can. So what are the benefits to Awrel? Increases your productivity with compliant texting, works with colleagues, works with reps, works with labs, provides you the opportunity. We have a special connection for communicating with patients. Here's best-selling author and Pulitzer Prize winner. We're so set in our ways. We tend, even when something is made simple and given to us, it's difficult to change. But as Charles said here, change, replace, adopt. These are small steps to benefit. What's in it for you? You save time, increase your productivity, improve outcomes to the benefit of your patient, improve access to technical support. This is how we work with our reps from the companies that we work with. That way we can enter patient information and do it securely. You increase security for everyone you touch. Also, I just wanted to show you give you one little demonstration here that we're doing a lot. We are the first company not only to be texting, have desktop and mobile text messaging for the dental industry, but we're the first and a leader in voice-assisted applications. This is just a very simple example, but one that we are in the process of putting online. Echo, open my lab.
Welcome to my lab, the voice assistant for ordering an implant-supported dental prosthesis. How can I help you? Would you like to place an order?
Yes.
What type of prosthesis would you like to order?
An implant-supported crown.
What retention form would you like? Screw or cement retained?
Cement retained.
What is the location of the implant?
6.
What type of implant?
Astra EV.
What is the platform size?
4.2.
What material would you like for the abutment?
Titanium gold.
What material would you like for the all-ceramic crown?
Zirconia.
What shade would you like?
A3.
When do you need this order?
Monday.
Do you need any technical assistance?
Yes.
Okay, we'll add a technical document to this message. Thanks for placing the order.
Well, what we're doing is demonstrating several, this is just one of several ways that we can facilitate your hands-free environment in the operatory and not have to write something on a pad, not have to get on a keyboard, but just be able to do something where you can create a prescription, you can ask for the status of the case, you can ask for product information, and you can do orders. So this is really the future, the voice-assisted collaboration. And everything we do generates structured information. So this is information that can be linked to ordering systems. We're looking forward to having our colleagues benefit from the texting environment and also the business solutions that we provide that will be stacked on top of our Awrel platform. So how do you get Awrel? You just go to awrel.com, AWREL.com, and you'll see there it says Get App. So you're on your laptop or your desktop. Just click there, register. It's a free application, so it's not costing you. It's a mental issue. It costs you in about 2 minutes of time. And then after you've registered, you can download the free app from both the Google Store as well as the Apple Store. And then you have the use of this technology. So I want to thank you for joining us today. You can see my email here, arosen@awrel.com. And if you have any questions, I do respond to my emails. So feel free at any time to contact us. And we look forward and hope that you'll take advantage of this service.
Arnie, terrific presentation. And I just have one quick question. We haven't had any questions yet from panelists, and or from attendees. Folks, if you do have a question for Dr. Rosen, feel free to enter it into the Q&A box and we'll get it right to him. Arnie, as you look at what else is out there from a texting perspective, is Awrel pretty much unique or alone in the marketplace?
Well, actually, there are some HIPAA-compliant text messaging systems. Most of them do not marry the desktop with the mobile device. And the majority of them are connected to institutional environments, more large institutional environments in the healthcare industry. We're the first company that is dedicated to dentistry. So we specifically create an environment for being able to share CT scans and documents that you won't typically find the capability on other applications.
And at the moment, Arnie, what other sorts of organizations are now using Awrel? Is it strictly limited to the dental field, or does the spectrum widen a bit?
Well, you know, the technology is generic. We have several dental labs that use us. We have 3 dental schools that are using the application in their graduate departments. We have a couple of companies that actually are putting secure networks in their texting networks so that their reps who are sharing images and talking about patient information. But it's generic, so actually anybody can go online and benefit from this technology. We actually have a number of organizations that go outside of dentistry. I don't feel comfortable naming them, but they have patient-related care. Also, we have a lawyer that may be using this just because they have secure documents and they have a real critical need for being able to ensure that they can share them and discuss documents. But you know, it's really a generic technology. The voice aspect of it is unique for us in dentistry. Firstly, we're the first company of our type to have, I don't know of anybody else that has the voice technology that we have. And our applications of that voice technology are all focused on dentistry. Don't have to be, but that's basically where we're at this time. A lot of that has to do with the fact that you know, I have a passion for dentistry. It's been my profession for too many years, and so that's where our focus is at this time.
Arnie, a couple of other quick questions, and these go right to the heart of the HIPAA security rule, in my view. I would say that, of course, as a HIPAA person, but does the other person, a surgeon, a specialist, a lab, et cetera, have to have the Awrel app or the Awrel texting capability in order to remain compliant?
Well, we do create a closed network. So let's just say that you don't have that. I'm going to work with a surgeon and they have not registered with Awrel. Basically what we do is we have an invite process within the application. So when you do a normal text here, what happens is I just click on a plus sign that says create a new message. And then I put in who it's going to. And also I put in what the topic is. This is really useful because, and unique in texting, a small thing, but very unique. In that 2 box, I can put patient's name, I can put the patient's problem, and other unique identifiers that create search capabilities. So I can go up and I can say, I want to see everything that Ted Williams. I want everything on Ted Williams with fractured teeth or implants. So if I'm working with somebody who is not a member, I can go into the 2 box and put their email address in there. Our system will recognize that they are not a member, and it will have a little drop down that will say, do you want to invite them as a colleague or as a patient? If I say patient, because you know, I just need to have a secure communication with the patient. What happens is the system will send out an email with a link to create a password one time. After that, they can keep going into the system using that same, their email is their username and the password that they've created. They can keep going back. If I invite them as a patient, they can only connect with me. So we can have unlimited secure document sharing and conversations. If I invite them as a colleague, they end up having the same capabilities that I do. So it becomes a free service to them as well. I'm not sure.
Well, I know that Awrel is free. We've got a couple of questions here that hit on the free aspect. Will it cost later on? Is there a monthly fee or a fee schedule planned at this point?
No, there isn't. Our actual people ask us, well, how are you going to make money if it's free? Actually, our business model is to provide free service to our colleagues, but we are developing customer service products for companies to be able to deliver to their customers and to the dental community more effective customer service. That's really where our revenue stream is going to be coming from. But the basic service is not going to be something that we will be charging for.
Okay, terrific.
Yeah, and actually, this is kind of interesting. That broached on one thing I just wanted to mention. Customer service is the number one thing impacting customers. For instance, is I work with a particular company. The user experience is becoming the user experience of customer service is becoming the number one factor that people appreciate in terms of maintaining doing business with a company. So in addition, by using texting and chat, voice assisted applications, companies that use those services have a much greater growth and much better customer relations. And that's a direction we want to provide better connections between companies and the dental community.
Terrific, terrific. Arnie, if folks want to have a dialogue with you about some feature or some positive ramification of using Awrel, obviously they can contact you from the email address on the screen. Are you pretty accessible with inquiries of that nature?
Sure, we're very accessible. And,
Okay.
and by the way, one thing that it's not universally free. That's a caveat. If you sign up as a member, it is a free service to you. If you come to us and say, we have a company with 100 people, we want them on the service, we create something called an enterprise account. And all of those 100 people are under one account that has certain features to it. And there may be fees associated to that. But we're dedicated to making it so that the individual practitioner or a patient is not incurring any expenses.
Terrific, terrific. Well, it is a really neat product, not only from a pure application standpoint. There's some wonderful technology here, but also from a HIPAA-compliant standpoint. And if you're as concerned about that as I am, which might not necessarily be healthy, Awrel is a terrific solution and a great way to move forward and speed up that practice-to-practice communication that all of us have challenges with.
Yeah. Also, I just wanted to say that everybody is texting now. It's not age dependent anymore, and it just makes sense if you're going to text to do it in a secure manner. It doesn't take any more effort to be HIPAA compliant today. So I think I hope people will take advantage of that.
Well, and it doesn't obviously cost anything with Awrel, so I think it's a terrific solution. I thought so when I met you, and still think so today. It's one of those things that, frankly, if a dentist doesn't take time, make the effort, or put forth the energy to pick up your product, they sort of deserve what they get, Arnie. That's probably the best way to phrase it.
Yeah.
Well, thanks again for a terrific presentation. And do keep in mind that if you have questions from a compliance standpoint, whether it's HIPAA or OSHA, all of us at Smart Training are happy to help. Our Platinum Plus package is designed specifically for the dental practice, and it's designed to cover all of those exposures that you have from an OSHA and HIPAA compliance standpoint. Dr. Rosen, thanks for taking time to be with us this afternoon. We hope that our participants have gotten just as much from this webinar as we have watching it today. It's been a terrific experience, and we thank you for the time.
Okay, and thank you. We really appreciate your giving us the opportunity to make the presentation, and we really appreciate the work that you're doing.
Well, it's our pleasure. And for Josh Matheny, I'm Jim Moore at Smart Training, reminding you to make your day count. Thanks for joining us.